Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and today we are going to do another monthly BT video. So this is going to be for November 2021, and this video is going to be who I would recommend you use your BT tokens on this month if you have 50 and you need to use them up on something, right? For those of you that don't know, I do one of these every month just because I know at certain points somebody is going to be hitting the 50 BT tokens and they're going to want to know like who are good units to use them on. Now that we're in BT plus, I feel like my list is going to get a little bit shorter because I feel like there's very few non-BT plus BTs that I would recommend you pick up, and as time goes on, I probably won't recommend any non-BT plus BTs, right? So this month, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all of the contenders for what I feel are some of the best ones you could choose for this month, right? So I'm going to start with previous BTs, and then I'm going to talk about the newest BTs coming out in the month of November, right? Now, I am recording this literally actually I think the community stream is starting right now and I'm not watching it, but that's fine. I'll record the video. The community stream technically hasn't happened yet, but I'm going to assume that the same BTs that came out according to the JP schedule are what we're going to get. Now keep in mind, if they do like a global first BT or something, that obviously could be an exception to this, but for previous BT, so I feel like there's only 3 non-BT plus ones that I would recommend. One of them is Vayne. Vayne is still a very, very good ridiculous damage dealer. If you want magic, very strong magic single target, DPS with some AoE splashed in there, I think Vayne is a very, very good pick for that. The other ones would be Tidus and Yuna. So let me just find them really, really quick. I think they're down here. There we go. So Yuna, I think, is still very, very usable right now in Lufenia Plus. She's very, very good for like Brave Gain team comps and things like that, and she's a very good support unit. Tidus is another very good DPS unit, still is capable in Lufenia Plus. So just keep in mind though that as week by week happens, as power creep happens, Tidus is more likely to fall off than someone like Yuna. Support units just in general have more longevity than DPS units, so keep that in mind. So once again, depending on your roster, so of non-BT plus units, those are pretty much the 3 I'm going to recommend. In terms of BT plus units that I've already released, you can see I got 3 nice greens at the top here, right? So Zidane is a good pickup if you like his kit. He's kind of like a jack-of-all-trades type unit. If you like turn deletion, you like a little bit of turn stealing, little bit of DPS, he's kind of got a little bit of all of that. He even has like healing if you green him. Like, he's got like a little bit of everything in his kit. I find Zidane to be very, very powerful. Actually, I really, really like Zidane. Ace, just in general, is a very good DPS unit with traps. So if you really like the trap mechanic with the off-turn damage and you're lacking magic DPS, I think Ace is a good pickup for that. Keep in mind with Zidane and Ace, I would say greening them is not a requirement, because that's the other thing you're going to have to consider moving forward with your BT tokens, is when you're picking one up, are you going to green it or not? I would say Zidane and Ace, greening them is not a requirement, okay? Then we have Bartz. I'm going to tell you this right now. If you don't have Bartz, he is actually my #1 choice for who you should get with BT tokens this month. The thing with Bartz is you do want to green him. So if you're going to pick up Bartz, you would want to have the intent that you're going to green him. I feel like he does want that. By greening Bartz and having his BT plus, the big thing with Bartz that he does is he does Enchant Imperil as an aura, so enemies cannot block it out. So even if they're Imperil immune, they can still get imperiled. So just having that, like, basically guaranteeing your team is going to have elemental damage weakness is like a really, really big plus for Bartz. He also has Gravity in his kit. He has Instant Break in his kit. Just a lot of really good things that make him useful as like a support type unit. I really, really, really like Bartz. And greening a support is a very, very good investment, by the way. Okay. The other one I would recommend, or the other BT plus that we have, is Ishtola. Eastola is one that, though, if you are going to grab her, you need to plan to green her. She is a support unit, which means she is going to have more longevity. She is kind of like the Brave Gain Queen. She has tons of Brave Gain, tons of healing. She can revive, and revive doesn't affect your score, so it would allow you some flexibility to that. If you died in a run, all of a sudden you could heal up and actually be okay with that. She actually allows for cheesing some orbs where you could swap her out for a friend unit right before the orb ticks. The orb will tick, kill your whole party. She will come back in as long as you have your EX up. She can re-heal the whole party, and you can actually continue the run. So she does enable a little bit of cheesing of mechanics if there's something you're interested in. She has a teeny bit of delay. She has a little bit of earth damage. That's not really why you run her, though. The big thing is, though, like her healing, her auras, her support, all very, very fantastic. Okay? So that's everything that's been released so far. Now, if you're looking ahead and you can hold on to your tokens a little bit into November, what we are going to expect to get are Garland, Lawn and Rain, Cloud of Darkness, and Vayne. So in terms of BTs that I have, let me just see if I have them. So I have Garland. Garland, basically, if you want a kind of physical DPS delay character, that's what Garland does. He does a bunch of delay with all of his attacks. His LD allows him to continue to delay. Garland is one that I wouldn't recommend you green, nor I require that his green would be required for him as well. Cloud of Darkness I have right here. Cloud of Darkness is if you're really into delay and some strong magic damage. That's what Cloud of Darkness is going to provide for you. Her green isn't required, but if you really like her and wanted to green her, she isn't like the worst one that you could green. But if you pick up her burst, like greening her isn't a requirement. And then the other two do not have burst. So the other ones, and I don't know, like, I've got a weapon for them in here somewhere. Let's see if I could click on them. But it's Lawn and Rain, which I don't know if I have their EX up here or not. I think I did purple them just because I'm prepping them for their arrival. I don't know if they're on here or not. I'm not going to sit here and like look through the character just so you can see a picture of them, but you guys should all know who Lawn and Rain are. And who knows, I probably passed them at this point. Oh, there they are. Perfect. Lawn and Rain. Okay, so Lawn and Rain, I would say of the newest batch of BTs from my little bit of research and kind of hearing around the pulse of the community, they are the one to go for this month if you're going to go for one. Their big deal is magic AoE damage. They carry many different elements in their kit. I think they carry 4. So they can be useful for handling various elemental orbs. That can also be a hindrance, though, because if any of those elements are absorbed, that could cause a problem, right? But from my understanding, they are like the best DPS of the month of November, and they are, once again, very good for AoE damage. Then we have Vayne. I wasn't really looking for Vayne, but I've got Vayne in here somewhere as well. Vayne, from my understanding, is kind of like the least recommended this month. He carries the break re-break mechanic. That's the big thing that he does. So if you like units that break a lot, he is like the prime candidate for Vanille Sphere, by the way, which mine does have Vanille Sphere on. Vanille Sphere, if you're not familiar with it, basically makes it so that every time you break a target, you take away one of their buffs, which is really, really good for Vayne, right? But in terms of just in general, I think having Vayne's VT isn't required to beat any content. Greening him for most people isn't recommended unless he's a favorite of yours. And yeah, you could get by with just his LD if you wanted to get through his content. You could probably get by with other characters. So yeah, the thing with Vayne, like if any of his orbs are requiring like break, re-break, or delay or anything like that, there's plenty of characters that can do what Vayne does. Vayne doesn't like do anything crazy that other characters don't do. He gets a lot of free turns and he gets a lot of break, re-break type shenanigans, right? So that's basically all of the burst, right? Now, those are the ones I would recommend. I can't say that I recommend any other ones unless you are future proofing and you just like know you have a favorite that's coming up later. Like, so for example, if Terra is your favorite character and you don't have her yet, and I use Terra because she's like my favorite character, or like Locke, I love Final Fantasy VI, right? So Locke's a character I'm looking forward to. So let's say you really like Locke or Terra. They're maybe not as useful right now, especially Locke. Like Locke can't do anything right now, but like if his BT were available, I guess Terra's the example I'd use because Locke doesn't have a BT right now, right? So we'll use Terra. So Terra's okay right now. Like you can still get by with Terra shenanigans. Like people have been using her in Lufenia Plus, but she's not the most powerful character right now, so she's not one I'd recommend. But if she's your favorite and you know you want to have her for like when her BT Plus eventually drops or whatever, sure, grab her now, right? So basically, out of the characters I've mentioned, my number one recommendation, so I actually wouldn't recommend any of the new bursts over the first 4. I feel like the first 4 are really, really good. You can see I have 3 out of the 4 greened, and I am also planning to green Y'shtola. So as soon as I get enough materials, I'm going to green her, and then I'm going to save materials, and I think my next green is going to be Locke, because I think he comes out in December, I'm pretty sure. So Locke, I think, is going to be my next green. My plan for this cycle, I already have Garland's BT, I already have Cloud of Darkness, I'm just going to use them as is. For Vayne and Twins, I might summon just for their LD to get through their content, and that's it, right? So my recommendation for like a player that just wants to know what to grab, my top choices would actually be Bartz or Y'shtola, and the reason why is they are the only greenable support units, and support units are very valuable and usable for a longer amount of time. So I believe you're going to get more bang for your buck out of getting one of them with your BT tokens. I actually think Yuna, even for being a non-green, especially if you're not going to use the materials to green them anyways, Yuna would probably be like in my top pick. So I would say Yuna, Bartz, or Y'shtola are my top picks. Damage dealers come up much more often. You have other non-BT damage dealers like Sid Reigns that can carry you damage-wise. So I would say getting one of those support bursts would be my top choices. Otherwise, whatever you want, like if any of the characters I mentioned or another character is available that is a favorite of yours, go ahead and grab them. Like grabbing your favorites is always a good idea because you're going to have more fun playing with the units you like. The part of the reason I'm not greening any from November is because I dislike most of those characters. Like Garland, Twins, I think their character design is very like contrasting to the other units. They look way too chibi and like action figures basically. I know that's because of the design in their game, but I don't like that design in this game where all the other characters have much better, more detailed designs. So I find them kind of annoying, to be honest. Vayne and Garland, I just dislike their characters, but I might build them up enough to get through the content, but I'm not going to like summon for BTs necessarily. Cloud of Darkness, I like her character design. She's a waifu, right? Like she looks cool. But I'm just not as big a fan of her kit, and there's so many other units that can delay better than she does, and I got Quistis already, and I've got like Zidane for turn deletion, so like I don't feel like I want to invest the green on her, and I don't know that I'm going to use Cloud of Darkness much afterwards. So anyways, guys, this kind of turned into me talking about who to green as well, but yeah, my main recommendations for who you should grab, Bartz or Y'shtola, or probably Yuna. If you have specific questions, maybe you already have all of the ones I mentioned and you want to know about some other ones I didn't talk about, my opinions, feel free to hit me up in the comments and I'll let you know what I think. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.